Hi, and thank you for joining us for another Monday. This is Tara with Love Prevails. I have my friend Brittany here to talk about her sobriety journey. I'm really happy to have you here, Brittany. I really appreciate that you decided to do this. What I'm doing here is with Love Prevails is we do offer intervention support services and peer support services. If you or somebody you know are struggling with addiction, I'm here to help. Please reach out to me either through Messenger or through the web page that I have posted with this video. I'd love the opportunity to, to speak with you and to see how it is I can best help. Um, how are you doing today, Brittany?
I'm doing pretty good. Had a little rocky start this morning, but
Oh yeah.
came to a meeting, so I'm feeling better.
What was your rocky start?
Well, my car died out of nowhere. I don't even know what happened because I drove all day yesterday. It was fine. So my husband had to jump my car. Then I got to work, and then it started on my lunch break, so I took it to O'Reilly's, and they said there's nothing wrong with my battery. It's 100%.
Hmm,
So
that's frustrating.
yeah, and I'm getting ready to pay it off in June, and so I'm like, of course, something's gonna,
Yeah.
get me.
The minute you start paying stuff
Yes.
off, it starts breaking down. My battery went out on my car about a month ago, and I got stranded in the at the car wash in the vacuum. So
Oh,
I was stranded there for a while. Thank goodness for roadside assistance.
yeah.
So I was very grateful for that. But yeah, is it working now?
Yeah, it's so far. I'm gonna take it tomorrow to the dealer or some shop
Yeah.
to have them look at it while I'm at work. So
Right. As you can see, we are videotaping this on St. Patrick's Day, even though it's not going to be shown on St. Patrick's Day. We're in our St. Patrick's Green.
yes.
Are you doing anything fun, or did you do anything fun for St. Patrick's Day?
No. My
No.
husband's family is Irish and they all do their thing, but he's at work and
Are
I'd
they
rather just come to a meeting.
a big drinking family?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you handle that when the family's together and they're all drinking and you're not?
I mean, some days are harder than others, but I feel like it's kind of like a blessing because I get to see like the other side of it, you know, and when they get intoxicated or friends or whoever I'm around when I'm out, anybody that's drinking, you kind of get to see the other side and how you were and how, things are just like how grateful I am to not be there anymore. Or to not have to worry about driving or to not have to worry about waking up and am I still going to be drunk in the morning to go to work and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So,
Do you feel like you're missing out on the fun?
not really. I have my days where it's like, I'd love to have a drink, but then when I look at the bigger picture of everything, it's just like, no, like I'm good.
Yeah.
It's just that one sip isn't worth it to me because it's gonna bring in that shame and that guilt, and then I'm gonna lose all these days that I've worked so hard for and this new person that I've become and the new life that I'm building, and it's just the end of the day, I don't feel like it's worth it. So that really keeps me motivated as well.
You do reach a point when you just realize enough is enough and I don't want this anymore.
Mm,
And you start realizing that you're not missing out, you're actually gaining.
right.
And I know that I've had opportunities where I'm with people that are drinking a lot, and I see that, and I'm just like, oh man, I'm glad I'm not there. I had a situation yesterday, in fact, where I was talking to somebody, and I tend to talk to people on the street all the time. I talk to total strangers all the time. I am out there, and um, I was gonna take somebody somewhere, and they had their beer, and before we were going to this building together, they had to slam that beer, and
Mm.
the whole time they're slamming that beer, they're like gagging and burping, and oh ma'am, I'm sorry you have to witness this,
Oh,
and
jeez.
um, it was it was so gross, and I'm sitting there laughing because I'm thinking to myself, oh man, am I glad
Right?
that I am not there anymore.
That just made me feel like full.
Yeah.
That
Well,
uncomfortable,
like,
like,
yeah, like all bloated.
yeah.
But it was just very important for him to finish that beer so that we could walk together into the place we were going. And I was just like, but it was so important that it was important enough for him to gag and
Right.
burp and I don't
All
know
the
for sure, but
unpleasantness
yeah,
of it.
maybe he. It's possible he puked. I wasn't watching, but I know he was doing a lot of spitting, and I was just
Oh,
like, oh my gosh, this is bad. So yeah, I know you do reach a point where it's just
yeah.
you realize you're gaining.
I think the hardest part for me is the social aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even, I've been with my husband for almost 11 years, and when we go to, family outings with his family or even my own family, like, I don't know how to socialize, even to the people I'm the closest to in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird that um, the alcohol, brought that person out in me.
Yeah.
And so now, like, I don't know, I'm coming up on a year and I still don't know who I am or how to be or, what to say. Still kind of uncomfortable in that aspect.
Yeah.
Um, but deep inside within myself, I'm still finding myself going through the steps, going through the process. Um, and I'm excited for, what's in store for my future. So,
Right. And and those things happen over time, and it's almost like at this stage in your sobriety, it's almost like every month you find something new about yourself.
mhm,
And then the next month go by and you're just like, oh wow,
mhm.
that's new.
Just little pieces at a time, start building together. And
One of the most profound things I've ever heard since I've been in this journey is everybody's story is a piece to my puzzle.
mm,
And and I found that to be very true in my own
yeah,
journey.
I like that.
So you mentioned that you are almost a year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And why did you decide to get sober?
I don't really know. I went back and forth in my head for a long, long time. Oh, it's going to be this Monday, next Monday. On Monday, it was always a Monday. Um, I knew, like, I was having pains in my liver daily,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of in that area. Um, and I've witnessed a lot of friends and family and stuff die from alcoholism, and so I kind of knew that it's not good, it's not healthy,
Mm-hmm.
um, and so I went to the doctor. I got some ultrasounds and stuff like that done, and was diagnosed with fatty liver. And I didn't really eat. I mean, all I did was drink vodka. So I know that it was mainly from the alcohol. Um, and I think I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Right.
And I just was drunk one Thursday night, and I was just like, I'm done. Like, I just want to go get help. And so that next morning, I called a rehab, and a week later, went in and did 30 days and came straight to a meeting afterwards. Um, but it was very hard. It was a very long process of
Mm-hmm.
years and years and years of, my broken promises to myself of gonna quit. I'm gonna slow down. I'm gonna buy less shooters because then I won't drink as much. But I was always back at the store with getting more because it was
Mm-hmm.
never enough.
Right.
Um, so I think just a mix of everything. I was a very angry drunk, um, very selfish. I didn't like the person I was anymore. I didn't know the person I was anymore.
Right.
And I was just tired. I was
Yeah.
done.
You know when enough is enough.
Yeah.
Um, so you mentioned going to rehab, and with the intervention support services, um, my goal is to get people to rehab. And so, what was that experience like for you? And have you only been in the one time?
hmm I've only been in once. My brother and my mom have actually been to the one I went to. I went to Parker Valley Hope. Um, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, for me, it was getting away from my work, getting away from, my husband, my family, my dogs. I had to just leave everything and go somewhere. So I, like, knew I couldn't go to the liquor store.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just the classes and all the different things, like really started to like show myself a little bit of who I was, and I could laugh, and I just
Mm-hmm.
kind of felt freer.
Yeah.
Um, but eventually, 30 days is quite a long time, so I was also excited to get back to my life and get back into my routine.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that I don't think I would be sober today if I didn't go to
Right.
rehab, for me personally.
Right. I think I've been to rehab. Well, I did the full program twice, and then I went in for just detox. And the first time I went, it was so traumatic. It was a very traumatic experience because I was not prepared for, having people go through my
Mm,
luggage, the things that, I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't prepared for any of it. And because that's the closest I had ever been to being incarcerated. And so it was very, very traumatic for me the first
right.
time around. But I came out of that. I was with people that I never would have given the time of day to
Mm.
in my life before,
Or just
ever.
judged on the outside and
Exactly.
way you look, way you dress. Yeah.
Yeah. Where you come from. I was very judgmental. Never in a million years would have given any of those people the time of day. And I came out of that experience with my eyes opened and realized that it doesn't matter where you come from.
Mm.
You have similarities and connections, and we're all just people.
Yeah.
And I came out of that first rehab believing in my heart and that everybody should experience rehab at least once in their life.
Yeah, I'm really glad I did it. I mean, having alcoholics in my family and my friends and stuff, like I knew it was a thing, right? An addiction in my family. But yeah, it's kind of different when you go there and you leave, or even coming to the meetings and you just realize there's so many people from so many different walks of life, and you're just all connected. You're all the same.
Hmm.
And it's just crazy
Yeah.
thing.
So, what, why, I mean, so you're just shy of a year. What makes you want to get a year? And what do you, at this stage in the game, what's going to make you stay?
Um, I mean, the health is always in the back part of my head, but I don't think I'm really think about that as much anymore. I think it's just for my sanity,
Hmm.
and just learning that there's a different way to live, and I don't have to be miserable all the time, and I don't have to try and remember what I did the night before. I don't have to worry about. I can get in the car whenever I need to and go somewhere via emergency, or if I just want to go to the store or
Hmm.
whatever. I think that the freedom of being away from the alcohol, I think is like keeps me going. I think just to keep that freedom and just to keep slowly finding out who I am, um, and who I want to become, just helps push me day by day.
Hmm. Yeah, what you said kind of just jogged some of my memory, being able to go to the store in the middle of the night if you need to. And I can remember there were times, there's one night my youngest needed to go to the ER and I couldn't take her.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest daughter had to take her. There were nights that people would call and be like, hey, let's get together. And I couldn't go. I
Right.
wouldn't even answer the phone. Um, yeah, and
I
now it doesn't matter what time of day
right.
I'm present.
I think that emergency factor is definitely a big key to it, because I remember I was managing a restaurant, and I was drinking my 10, 20 shooters every day on the shift. Then I got a phone call that my grandma had passed away, and my grandma was my best friend. And I was too drunk, like I couldn't drive to go, see her. Luckily, my sister in law came and picked me up and took me. but I was just like stuck. I was stuck. I mean, I could have drove, but you know, not when I was that drunk.
Yeah.
Definitely couldn't have. But it's that emergency factor, I think, that really keeps it going for me, because you
Hmm.
never know. You never know when somebody's going to need you. You never know when um, you're going to need to be somewhere.
Right.
And so just having that option always open and not having to worry takes a lot of stress off you for
Do,
me.
do you find that being sober is freeing?
I feel like it is, yeah,
Hmm.
for me,
Because
definitely.
when you're in the midst of that, of your addiction, you're so bound to that
Mm-hmm.
addiction. Everything you do
Yeah.
is centered around that addiction, and now you don't have that. It's just like the chains are gone.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even when the addictive thoughts, and everything come up, it's like with the tools that I learned in rehab and the tools that I learned here or am learning here, um, it's still kind of freeing, because I now am set to know what to do with this feeling or what to do with whatever is happening. I
Hmm.
know how to handle it better. Um, so even though the thoughts and the cravings or what have you can still come into my head, like it's still freeing to know that I know how to handle that. I know what next steps to take.
Right.
So that's nice too.
Right. Well, I'm really glad that you decided to do this. Um,
Yes.
I've had the pleasure of getting to know you over the last several months, and really enjoyed having you. A part of slowly becoming a part of my friend group, and so
Yeah.
it's been a real pleasure having you.
Thank
Um, and watching you grow through the past almost a full year now. I remember when you first came in, and I remember our conversation that we had when the
you.
first night that I met you, and from there to now, you've come a long way, and we all do, in especially in that first year. And um, so I'm glad that you allowed me to do this, and I hope that we have lots and lots more conversations moving forward. And hopefully this gave you a great insight, to what rehab is like, and it really is a great experience. I think it's a great experience. It
Yeah.
for me, and I know that my oldest daughter talks about her experience. It can be, it can be a lot of fun.
Mm,
I had a ton of fun. The scary part is it becomes very comfortable
right.
and easy to go back to.
So when you have to get out of that bubble of the safety and go back to real life.
Yeah, it does become very very safe, and but it so that's certainly not a reality to stay there, but it can be a lot of fun. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to be a scary thing. And even though you are miserable, it's that misery is very short lived, and you meet a lot of really great people. Some of my rehab friends, I'm still friends.
Mhm. Yeah.
They can be lifelong connections.
Yeah.
And so, if you or somebody you know is struggling with addiction, please reach out to me. Your best life is waiting for you. Reach out to me, and we will find it together. And there's a whole life waiting out there for all of us, and it's just a matter of reaching out and grabbing it. Please like, share, comment, and these videos so that we can continue to reach those that are struggling. If you or somebody you know would like to be interviewed, I'd love the opportunity to speak with you. Also, we have a YouTube channel that we're opening up. We're going to start putting the links in here pretty quick so that you can see the videos on YouTube. And there was one other thing I was going to mention. Just slipped my mind. You don't know what it is?
Nope. I
All right.
don't.
Well, we'll think about it, and I'm sure it'll be. Every Monday at 3:30. Please watch these videos. Interact and be a part of this with us. Again, my name is Tairah. Thank you, Brittany.
Thank
I
you.
was very happy to have you,
Yes.
and
Thanks for having me.
hopefully we can have you back. I'd love to know, as your journey goes on, have you back on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your week.